Let's take a look at the animations for our cat again. If I go back to my cat object and I look at my animations, I've got my idle here, which I can see playing on the cat. Looks kind of cool. He just wiggles around. And then I've got my shoot, and I play that, and you can see that there's a very specific point where it seems like he should be launching the object. And that's kind of how I expect to get my art from an artist. Let's take a look at it in slow motion. If I drag it here, you can see that when I get right about here, yep, that's when the thing's about to launch. And you can see that up at the top, there's an animation event assigned. So the animator actually kind of specifically thought that this was the perfect time for this object to launch and added an animation event. We don't have a script assigned to it though. That's up to us to do. And this is going to be the case anytime that we get something with an animation event or we need to tie into an animation. It's going to be pretty much always up to the programmer. Sometimes the designer is going to do a little bit of it, but programmer is going to have to set it all up. So we need to tie into this animation event. And if I hit the drop down here, you see that it says no function selected. And the reason for that is because if I look where the animator is, there's no script. So I've got some options. I could take my cat script and drag it down to this child. And then if I went over to my shoot and found my animation event, and hit my drop down, I can see, oh, spawn cat bomb is now available. But I mentioned earlier that I don't really like having scripts down at lower levels. So I'm going to take the cat off that base object and move it back up to the cat. And the reason that I don't like that there is, well, here, let's hit apply overrides and just make sure that we've got a single cat script there, is that it often hides a lot of logic. If you open up a project that has a lot of prefabs in it and there's not much at the base level, it's very easy to misunderstand what those objects are, how they work, or have a hard time digging into what it is that they're doing. If there are lots of scripts that are littered all the way down the hierarchy here, it gets much, much more complicated to deal with. Having all of the scripts at the root level of the object usually makes the most sense and is usually the easiest to deal with. So how are we going to get messages, though, or animation events from this animator to the cat? Well, in that case, what I do is add in a special script. So we'll add another script that's sole responsibility is to pass messages up from the animator to our cat or to our other parent objects, because notice on our dog we have the same issue. Our dog is down here just so that it can receive back an animation event, which I believe was the shoot one. Yeah, is this animation event right there. So let's go add in a setup so that we can do that without having to move our cat script down. We're going to start by going into our scripts folder, and I want to create a new script, and I think I want to call this a maybe like a fire animation wrapper or shoot animation wrapper. Let's call it shoot animation wrapper. So that way it's very obvious that it has nothing to do with actual fire. It's about the weapon shooting. Shoot animation wrapper. We'll attach that shoot animation wrapper script to our base object here. Oh, got a nice reload here. We'll go select the cat though, select the base, and drag the shoot animation wrapper script onto it. I'm going to open that shoot animation wrapper script. And as usual, I'm going to delete the start and update methods, and I'm going to add in two things. First, an event that's an action. So I'll add a public event action, and I'm going to call this on shoot. Then I'm going to add a public void shoot. The shoot method is going to call on shoot. So I'm going to use on shoot oot question mark dot invoke. Hit tab and tab again. So we've got an expression body method. Since it's a one-liner, we'll use the expression body instead of the parentheses. And it's going to invoke the on shoot method if it's registered for. That's what the question mark's doing there, avoiding a null reference exception if nothing has registered for on shoot. I'm going to delete out lines 2 and lines 3 and line 9 and look at how nice and short that got. So now we need to call into our shoot animation wrapper. To do that, we'll go back into our cat script, and inside of our start, instead of doing an invoke repeating, let's get our shoot animation wrapper. So I'll say var shoot animation wrapper equals get component, and I don't want to get a component, I want to get a component in children of type shoot animation wrapper. I'll hit tab and make sure that I get that semicolon over there at the end. Let's zoom out just a tiny bit. And then on our shoot animation wrapper, we're going to register for our onShoot event. So I'll do ShootAnimationWrapper.onShoot plus equals spawn cat bomb. Whoops, get the B in there, remove the semicolon, and delete out that invoke repeating. So now whenever our shoot animation wrapper says it's time to shoot, our spawn cat bomb will fire off. Let's go back into our script, or our project, not our script. And then let's go hook up that animation event now. So we'll go to the animation window. We've got the cat selected. We'll go to the shoot animation and go find that animation event. We now have an option here for shoot, because that's part of our shoot animation wrapper. And our cat should now be registering for that and listening so that it can launch off a bomb as soon as it, as soon as it's ready, as soon as it gets to that shoot point. Let's go watch. Boom, look at that. It's now launching my bombs exactly when I want it to. Looking pretty good so far, I think. Let's stop playing. And now, before we go any further, let's have a little challenge. What I want you to do is take advantage of what we've just written here and see if you can refactor the dog so that our dog script is no longer at the base level and is up at the parent here. And I say the base level, I mean this base level, not this actual kind of base parent level. So I want you to make the change so that our dog script can go up to the top. Go ahead and get that done, or continue on in just a second and I'll show you the solution. All right, I assume that this was pretty easy, but what we're going to do is add that shoot animation wrapper to our dog base object here, move the dog script up one level to the dog, and then we'll open up our dog script in our code editor. So let's see, where's our dog script? There it is. Inside of our dog script, we'll add in a start method. And then in the start method, we'll get that fire animation event wrapper. So I'll say get component in children, fire animation, no, a shoot animation event wrapper, shoot animation wrapper. And then we're going to do an on shoot plus equals shoot. I'm not even going to cache this component because I'm not going to listen for any other events on here. Now I can make this shoot method not be public. So I can remove the public there and remove the public here. Turn this into an expression body method. Oh, I guess it's not going to let me. And then realize that when I'm shooting, I don't even really... Oh, that's why I had a little extra character there. I don't even really need to call this code because it doesn't do anything yet. But let's leave it in here for now. Let's save, go back into our game, and make sure that our dog still at least logs out that he's shooting, even though he doesn't do anything when he's doing his shoot yet. Oh, and first, let's apply our overrides to our prefab. I'm going to press play, go to the console log, and we'll just watch to make sure that our dog is still calling his shoot stuff as well. So go to the scene view. Yep, you can see he logged out shooting, and every time he goes up and down, that shooting counter is going up and down, or up again. Now that that's working, I want to make sure I've applied my prefabs on my cat and my dog. Save our scene, and let's go to plastic and say that we added the shoot animation wrapper, which we're going to update in the next section.